Living overseas in Japan would not feel complete without a trip to Kyoto. Kyoto is the cultural mecca of Japan, the heart of Japanese culture, and the place where the Japanese go to experience the best traditions of their own country. This is largely due to the fact that Kyoto is one of a handful of Japanese cities that was untouched by the destruction of World War II. Nowadays, the city has a unique mixture of ultra-modern and traditional Japanese architecture and boasts a population of over 1.5 million people. Kyoto is largely known for its 17 World Heritage Sites, over 1,600 temples, and 400 Shinto shrines which dot the landscape. We decided to spend a week in Kyoto during cherry blossom season, also known as Sakura season here in Japan, exploring the fascinating city with its many unique traditional attractions. To get to Kyoto, we drove to Naha Airport to begin our voyage to mainland Japan. Since Kyoto itself doesn't have a direct flight from Okinawa, we first made the 2-hour flight to Osaka, Japan's second largest city, before making our way to Kyoto. Once we arrived to Osaka, we boarded a train and made our way to Kyoto Station, Kyoto's largest train station. One thing that is unique about Japan is its train stations, and Kyoto Station is no different. The train station is an ultra-modern complex with hundreds of high-end stores and restaurants. To get an idea of what these train stations feel like, imagine a super busy airport in a luxury mall with a Japanese flair. Something like that. I'm sure you get the picture. After checking out the station, we headed to our Airbnb where we would stay for the next week. Little babies. Our first full day in Kyoto, we left our Airbnb and hauled Savannah and Abby in their own backpacks to the eastern edge of the city. We made our first stop at the World Heritage Site Ginkakuji Temple, also known as the Silver Pavilion. The temple is a Buddhist Zen temple and was built in 1482 as a retirement villa for Shogun Ashikaga Yoshimasa, and after his death in 1490, the villa was converted into a Zen temple, which it is still used for today. We enjoyed walking around the meticulously cared for moss garden and unique dry sand garden surrounding the temple. After getting our Zen on at the Silver Pavilion, we left the temple grounds and walked down the Philosopher's Path, where the cherry blossoms were in full swing. The path follows a small stream with miles of sakura trees, and we were lucky because the trees were in full bloom. Cherry blossom season is also a time when thousands of local Japanese people gather in Kyoto to experience the traditional side of Japan. During our walk down the Philosopher's Path and into the adjoining areas, we saw hundreds of Japanese tourists in traditional Japanese attire like kimonos, getting their pictures taken with a beautiful backdrop. It was a fun sight to see and one of the more memorable parts of our trip, because what's more Japanese than kimonos and cherry blossoms? Our second day in Kyoto, we jumped on the train and made our way to the Hozugawa River on the far western edge of the city. We decided to take a tour on a small flat riverboat down the rapids of the Hozugawa River, ending in the Arashiyama District of Kyoto. The boat had 3 crew members, 2 guiding the boat and 1 telling stories and jokes. At least we thought he was, since it was all in Japanese. We laughed at his jokes anyway. He made us feel like we were part of the group, although a little whiter and a little more American. The ride itself was beautiful, taking us through a river valley with spring foliage on either side.
Staring at the stars for hours, 'cause you're a renegade. I could be the one who saved you from this hard place. We could be as one.
Near the end of the tour, we were greeted by another boat that tethered to ours. I thought at first they were pirates ready to attack, but was pleasantly surprised when they were selling yummy Japanese snacks and drinks. At the end of our ride, we had arrived to the Arashiyama District of Kyoto. We explored the area, changed some diapers, fed babies, and grabbed some of Kyoto's delicious beef buns.
Ooh, yeah, look at this bun. Benny bun. What do you think? Do you like Japanese buns?
I like them buns.
After letting the girls get their energy out and taking a nice break from hauling them around, we packed up our monkeys and headed off to see other monkeys in the hills surrounding Arashiyama. Just up the hill from Arashiyama is an area known as Monkey Park. There, and in the hills surrounding Kyoto, are wild monkeys, and I love me some monkeys. At the top of the hill, dozens of monkeys are sprawled out across the landscape. There's a reason they hang out here. Inside this building, you can buy monkey food and feed the wild monkeys from inside your own cage. It must be weird for the monkeys to see humans in a cage, kind of like a human zoo, but they seem to be enjoying it just fine. As we were enjoying monkeying around, all of a sudden, circus music started playing, and dozens of monkeys came down from the mountain for a little snack. After enjoying playing with monkeys, we made our way back down to Arashiyama, enjoyed some well-deserved ice cream, and ended our day by checking out the Tenryuji Temple and Bamboo Grove. Like the Silver Pavilion that we had checked out earlier, the Tenryuji Temple is another World Heritage Site Zen temple with a spectacular garden. The temple was built in 1339 by the ruling shogun and was dedicated to the Emperor Go-Daigo. After walking the temple grounds and watching a deliriously tired Savannah pour gravel on her head, we headed to the nearby Bamboo Grove and ended our day by walking through one of Japan's most photographed trails. Cute, 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 cute. Here comes Savannah, who's cute, cute, cute.
Look at our cute little Japanese girls.
Our third day in Kyoto, we checked out some interesting sites within walking distance to our Airbnb. Our first stop took us to the Kiyomizu-dera Temple, which sits on a hill overlooking the city. This temple, which, surprise, is another World Heritage Site, is one of the oldest in Kyoto. It was founded in 780. 780! That's a long time ago, and was originally associated with the Hoso sect, one of the oldest schools within Japanese Buddhism. Since it's located in one of the older areas of the city, it really does have a very traditional Japanese feel and was a beautiful sight to see. Just below the peaceful Kiyomizu-dera Temple is the busy Higashiyama District with hundreds of small shops and restaurants. The area is a great place to experience traditional old Kyoto with its narrow lanes, wooden buildings, and traditional merchant shops. There's even a Starbucks that's hidden in one of these small wooden buildings. The famous 5-story Yasaka Pagoda is also found here, dating back to the 6th century. The view of the pagoda and the old wooden buildings really is postcard worthy, or Instagram worthy, or Facebook worthy. Yeah, you get the point. It's cool, and is a must-see when coming to Kyoto. We enjoyed walking around the district and checking out the sights and shops.
Roasted chestnut. How was it?
We ended our day by getting some hot food and then headed to our Airbnb for some much needed nap time.
Yeah, it looks real hot.
After enjoying a few days in Kyoto, we decided to voyage down to the Nara Prefecture. We again jumped on a train and traveled through the countryside for 45 minutes. It's always fun watching the girls enjoy looking out the window and watching the world fly by. We traveled to the city of Nara, which was the capital of Japan from 710 to 794 before the emperor moved the capital to Kyoto. Nara is home to 8 temples, shrines, and ruins, which collectively form another World Heritage Site. But let's be real, we didn't go to Nara to see the temples. We went to see the hundreds of wild deer. Nara is known for its wild deer that roam the city and the surrounding temple grounds. Why are they here? Because they're freeloaders waiting for a handout of crackers. About time they get a job, don't you think? Honestly, these deers are like pigeons waiting for a handout, and we gladly complied.
Just make me believe in love when you're gone. Forever.
It's like feeding pigeons.
Just make me believe that we find someone here in the afterglow.
Several vendors in the area sell crackers to feed the deer, and upon buying the crackers, the deer swarmed like a pack of rabid beasts. They weren't very patient either, as I was bit on my butt several times from deers and were feeling a bit isolated from the group. After playing with rabid deer, which honestly, come to think of it, I should be tested for, we made our way to the huge Todoji Temple. The entrance to the temple has two spectacular gates with more wild deer standing watch.
Open your heart, open your mind to let. Not even a storm can tame this heart on fire. Just make me believe in love when you
The temple was built in 752 and is known for its great Buddha hall, which houses the world's largest bronze statue of Buddha. The temple also now serves as the Japanese headquarters of the Gion School of Buddhism. It was a beautiful building inside, and the large statues were truly impressive and kind of frightening at times. After exploring the temple grounds, Savannah found some ice cream, of course, and we made our journey back to Kyoto to end the day. Good night to you. The next day, we decided to get our nature on by hiking in the mountains in northern Kyoto. After taking several buses and trains, we made our way up to the mountains and set off to hike the Kibune to Kurama Loop. The hike was beautiful and a nice relaxing break from the busy city.
Then I'll be at your door. When I'll be coming home.
The first part of the trail took us past the small mountain town of Kibune, which is situated right on the banks of a small creek. It was quiet and calm, and with the spring leaves coming in, it made for a scenic hike.
Whenever we're apart.
After departing Kibune, we made our way up and over the pass to the adjacent valley of Kurama. It sounds easy enough, but with 2 packs full of babies, it was quite the trek. But it was well worth it. At least Lisa thinks it was. Right, Lisa? Near the top of the pass, there was a small rest area where Savannah and Abby were able to stretch their legs, and we could rest our legs.
When I'll be coming home. And I am on my way. When
After enjoying a much-needed break, we continued our trek to the Karamadera Temple and ended our hike in the small town of Kurama.
the music of your heart. I'm followed by your light. Whenever we're apart, it takes me through the night. When I look deep into your eyes. When I look deep into your eyes. When I look deep into your eyes.
How's your yogurt? What does it taste like? I hope not. Pee-pee? What type of yogurt do they make in Japan? Our trip to Kyoto would not be complete without a visit to one of Japan's most iconic sites, the Fushimi Inari Shrine. The shrine itself is the most important of several thousands of shrines dedicated to Inari, the Shinto god of rice. At the shrine, foxes are everywhere. Foxes are thought to be Inari's messengers, resulting in many fox statues across the shrine grounds. Although the main buildings were beautiful, what we came to see were the 10,000 vermilion torii gates, which straddle a network of trails behind its main buildings. Torii gates represent the transition from the mundane to sacred and are typically found in most Shinto shrines. The trails through the gates lead into the wooded forest of the sacred Mount Inari. Since our legs were a little bit sore from the day before, this was not an easy hike, but with the unique sight of traveling through the sprawling red gates, it was an awesome experience.
sleep. Hear the crickets, see the moon. Side by side and through. No limit to what we can do. Oh, well, you know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright. You and I, we got it. We don't need no more. Even in the hard times, you and I can weather any storm.
After hiking up a mountain for several hours, we made our way to downtown Kyoto for some tasty food in the Nishiki Market. The marketplace is lined with hundreds of food vendors selling all sorts of unique local food. One food that I was particularly excited to try was Kobe beef sushi. Its juicy flavor and melt-in-your-mouth texture was honestly amazing! My mouth is watering right now just thinking of it.
Beef sashimi for the win today. Oh boy.
Another food I had to try just for kicks and giggles was Quail Egg Octopus. Yep, you heard that right. They stuff a hard-boiled quail egg in the head of an octopus and cook it, and you're left with a hard-boiled octopus? Something like that.
Show us the egg inside.
I think Savannah wants some too. It's got some quail egg on the inside. Alright, I'm sorry, this guy let's get a little fishy. Alright, Lisa, you wanna try?
After the octopus quail thingy, we kept trying different foods and eventually ended up buying some fresh croquets and donuts. Croquets, or deep-fried mashed potatoes, are quite common in Japan, and this one did not disappoint. Our final day in Kyoto, we hopped on a subway and bus to the northwestern part of the city to check out the famed Kinkakuji Temple, or Golden Pavilion, one of Japan's most prized temples. Similar to the Silver Pavilion that we explored on our first day, the Golden Pavilion was built in the 1400s as a retirement villa for the shogun Ashikaga Yoshimitsu and became a Zen temple shortly after his death. Sounds like a nice retirement there, Mr. Yoshimitsu. The impressive three-story structure has its top two floors completely covered in gold leaf. Thanks to COVID, this usually crazy crowded place was nearly empty, and we enjoyed the temple grounds with only a handful of other people. Working so hard. We got ice cream. Oh, there goes focus, with gold on it. Oh my goodness. All right, Lisa, try it again. Now Lisa's 1% gold. Oh! After visiting the temple and eating ice cream with gold flakes, we found some lunch at a sushi conveyor restaurant nearby. If you've never seen one of these, there's literally a large conveyor belt that carries sushi from table to table, allowing for customers to grab whichever sushi they desire. Once eaten, you simply put your plate in the slot and the computer bills you for your sushi. If you want to order a specific sushi, you can. You just add your order to the computer and voila! Your own customized sushi arrives to your table. Pretty cool and very yummy. On our way back to our Airbnb, we stopped in the Gion District. Like the Higashiyama District, the Gion District is known for its traditional Japanese buildings and tea shops. If you're lucky, you might get to see a geisha going from building to building. The district has a beautiful picturesque creek that winds through the town with sakura trees. It really was a gorgeous sight and a great place to end our trip. We loved our trip to the heart of Japan. Kyoto really is a magical place with its many temples and shrines, beautiful scenery, and unique culture. We hope to come back someday, but for now, peace out, Kyoto.